The prince who chose kindness. Glowing star. In a peaceful kingdom surrounded by golden fields and sparkling rivers, there lived a young prince named Ion. He was known not just for his bravery, but for his kind heart. Unlike many princes, Ion believed true strength came from helping others. One day, news spread across the kingdom that Princess Alina from a neighboring land had gone missing in the dark forest, a place where few dared to enter. Many knights tried to find her, but they returned frightened, speaking of deep shadows and confusing paths. Prince Ion did not rush in with swords and armor. Instead, he packed food, water, and a lantern. If the princess is lost, he said, she must be scared. She needs kindness more than anything. As he entered the forest, Ion noticed small animals trembling in fear. Instead of ignoring them, he gently spoke to them and shared his food. In return, the animals guided him through safe paths. After hours of searching, he found Princess Alina sitting beside a stream, tired and worried. She had twisted her ankle and could not walk far. Instead of boasting or making a grand entrance, Prince Ion quietly knelt beside her. "You're safe now," he said softly. He carefully wrapped her ankle, gave her water, and shared his food. He did not carry her immediately. Instead, he walked slowly beside her, supporting her step by step so she wouldn't feel helpless. On their way back, the forest seemed less frightening. The same animals they had helped earlier followed them, lighting the path in their own magical way. When they finally returned to the kingdom, everyone cheered. But Prince Ion simply smiled and said, "It wasn't courage alone that brought us back, it was kindness." Princess Alina never forgot this. She later said, "A true prince is not one who saves with power, but one who helps with heart." And from that day on, their story spread across lands, not as a tale of danger, but as a reminder that even in the darkest places, kindness can light the way. Sparkles the kindness that changed a kingdom. Herb. After returning safely from the dark forest, Princess Alina was welcomed with joy in Prince Ion's kingdom. The people celebrated for days, filling the streets with music, laughter, and colorful lights. But while everyone praised Prince Ion for his bravery, he quietly went back to his daily life, helping villagers and listening to their worries. Princess Alina, however, noticed something special about him. It wasn't just that he had saved her, it was how he had done it. He had never made her feel weak or afraid. Instead, he gave her courage when she had none. As her ankle slowly healed, Alina spent more time in the kingdom. She walked through markets, visited farms, and spoke with the people. To her surprise, everyone shared stories of the prince's kindness. "He helped rebuild my house after the storm," said an old woman. "He taught us how to grow better crops," said a farmer. "He listens to us like we matter," said a young child. Alina realized that Ion didn't just perform one act of kindness, he lived it every single day. One afternoon, while walking in the royal gardens, Alina found Ion planting small saplings. "You are a prince," she said with a smile. "Shouldn't others be doing this for you?" Ion chuckled softly. "A kingdom doesn't grow strong from orders. It grows when its people, and its leaders, care enough to help." His words stayed with her. Cloud with rain. A new challenge appears. Soon after, troubling news arrived. A nearby village was suffering from a terrible drought. The rivers had dried up, crops were failing, and families were struggling to survive. The royal court quickly began discussing solutions. Some ministers suggested sending guards to control resources. Others proposed raising taxes to store more food. But Prince Ion stood up and said, "We cannot solve suffering with fear or control. We must solve it with understanding and kindness." Princess Alina stepped forward too. "Let me help," she said. "I've seen what kindness can do." Together, they traveled to the drought-stricken village, not with soldiers, but with supplies, tools, and hope. Seedling kindness in action. Instead of simply giving food and leaving, Ion and Alina worked alongside the villagers. They helped dig new wells, built water channels, and taught ways to store rainwater. At first, the villagers felt shy working beside royalty. But Ion spoke to them like friends, not subjects. Alina comforted worried children and encouraged families not to lose hope. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, water began to return. Small green shoots appeared in the fields again. But the biggest change wasn't just in the land, it was in the hearts of the people. They began helping each other more, sharing what little they had, inspired by the prince and princess. Glowing star, a lesson for all. When they returned to the palace, the ministers were surprised. The problem had been solved, not through power, but through compassion and teamwork. From that day on, the kingdom changed. Leaders began to listen more. People became kinder to one another. And kindness became the kingdom's greatest strength. One evening, as the sun set in shades of gold and pink, Princess Alina said to Prince Ion, "You didn't just help me in the forest, you showed me a new way to lead." Ion smiled. Kindness is like a seed. When you plant it, it grows far beyond what you can see. And together, they promised to keep planting those seeds, wherever they went. Cherry Blossom, the legacy of kindness, glowing star. Seasons passed, and the story of Prince Ion and Princess Alina spread far beyond their kingdoms. Travelers carried tales of their kindness across mountains and seas. But while the world admired them, a new challenge quietly began to rise. Not all neighboring lands believed in kindness. In a distant kingdom ruled by a proud and powerful king, strength was measured by control and fear. When he heard of Ion and Alina, he laughed. Kindness, he scoffed. That is weakness. Let us see how long their kingdom survives. Soon, tension grew. Trade routes were blocked, messages ignored, and whispers of conflict filled the air. The people of Ion's kingdom grew worried. Should we prepare for war? The ministers asked. But Prince Ion remained calm. If we answer fear with fear, we become the very thing we stand against. Princess Alina agreed. Let us try something no one expects, understanding. Dove, a brave decision. Instead of sending an army, Ion and Alina chose a different path. They decided to visit the neighboring kingdom themselves, without weapons, without guards, carrying only gifts and a message of peace. The journey was long and uncertain. Many feared for their safety, but they did not turn back. When they arrived, they were met with suspicion. Soldiers surrounded them, and the proud king looked down upon them with cold eyes. "You come without protection," he said. "Do you not fear me?" Ion stepped forward calmly. "We do not come as enemies. We come as neighbors." Alina added gently, "We have seen what kindness can do. We wish to share it, not force it." The king was unimpressed. Kindness cannot protect a kingdom. But instead of arguing, Ion and Alina stayed. Seedling winning hearts, not battles. In the days that followed, they walked among the people of that kingdom. They listened to their struggles, heavy taxes, fear of punishment, and lives filled with worry. Alina comforted children who had forgotten how to laugh freely. Ion helped workers repair broken wells and shared food with hungry families. At first, the people were confused. Why would royals from another land care so much? But slowly, something began to change. Smiles returned. Neighbors began helping each other again. Hope, which had long been forgotten, started to grow. Even the soldiers, once strict and silent, softened when they saw the prince and princess treating everyone with respect. Heartbreak, the king's realization. One evening, the proud king walked through his city in disguise. What he saw shocked him. His people were happier, not because of orders or rules, but because of kindness. He saw a child share bread with another. He saw strangers helping one another without fear. He saw something he had never created despite all his power. Finally, he approached Ion and Alina. "Why?" he asked. "Why help a kingdom that might have become your enemy?" Ion replied softly, "Because kindness is not a trade. It is a choice." Alina added, "And sometimes, the strongest walls are not broken by force, but by care." The king stood silent for a long time. Then, for the first time, his voice softened. "I ruled with fear, because I thought it made me strong. But I see now, it only made my people distant. Globe a new beginning. The king made a bold decision. He opened his borders, restored fair laws, and began listening to his people. Trade routes were reopened, and peace replaced tension. From that day on, the two kingdoms were no longer divided, they became allies, united not by power, but by compassion. Cherry Blossom, the everlasting message. Years later, Prince Ion and Princess Alina became rulers. But they never sat far above their people. They walked among them, listened to them, and helped wherever they could. Their story became a legend, not of war or conquest, but of kindness that changed hearts, healed lands, and united kingdoms. And people would say, strength may build a kingdom, but kindness is what makes it last forever. Spark